Good morning.
Morning. I
Yes.
I did not know you were John. So I really
Ah, I don't know. I don't know why that thing is always bringing out my husband's name. Maybe because it was
okay.
one that used, yeah, and I changed it yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know why it just refused to change. So, good morning. Today is another day
So
and a great day. Were we
amen.
able to get Mr. Tayo, your graphics
Yes.
person, eh? I was expecting that you would have helped us to do that graphics now for the
Which one
get
is that?
the DP, that's get the DP something. The
He did
competition.
it now. Yeah,
Where
he
is
did
it?
it now.
Where is it? Do I have
Okay,
it?
okay, for the competition itself, like
Yes, now.
uh,
Because as that thing can pop up, you know, breaks like that, just a reminder for people. As it is,
people.
we've only seen activity on Twitter, but all the other platforms, there's nothing happening there.
Okay. Did they tag the foundation
Yes, they did on Twitter.
on Twitter?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I can see Akiwale Tobiloba already here. Emmanuel Wakawa. Janet Lami Amuta. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, sorry. Good afternoon. Let's give 5 minutes and would start. Don't forget to post your DP that you are present at this conference today and tag our platforms. Please check the chat room for information. Information as we posted is at the chat room for you to see. Kindly follow the guideline. We already have someone leading on Twitter. So let's see Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Let's see you guys working. In 3 minutes time would start. My name is Foluke Nikalia. I'm your moderator for this event today. And we are going to be having 2 sessions. We are going to be giving out award and gifts to winners of our 2022 essay competition. So stay tuned. There are a lot of things to be done today. And we're going to be talking on climate change. We're going to talk on climate change. We're going to talk on gender and how it's related to education. So feel free, get ready. I hope you have your pens and jotter. And don't forget, I have retired card for 2 persons today. So you have to be attentive. There are lots of things that will be happening throughout today. So you have to be attentive. My questions can come from anywhere. It could even be from what I've just said now. So Okay. We have a lot to do. Okay. I think we've had few people coming afterwards. I can see Abbas Saidu, Saifulai, Unisa, Lawal. Well, this is a phone. Vivo is a phone. So the owner of Vivo phone, I can see you. I can see Galu 001, Emmanuel Ezekiel. You are all welcome. You are all welcome. You are all welcome. You're all welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Let's see the hand waving. Let's see the hand waving. Let me see you waving your hand to say yes. I'm excited to be here today. This is the second day of the Jed Conference 2023. I believe we are all excited to be here today.
No.
Okay, Wakama, I can see that
Hello?
yes, you are very excited to be here today.
Hello?
I can see it. I can see it.
Hello?
Okay. Who is saying hello? I can hear someone saying hello. Please, technical team, can you please check the audio, please? Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to day 2 of Jet Conference 2023. Yesterday was fun. We had fun. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about education technology. We talked about financing in education. We also talked about excuse me. We talked about a lot of things yesterday, and I'm very sure when we talked about mental health, some of us still remember what Aisha Joseph told us yesterday. Um, One of the takeaways was know yourself. If you know yourself, then you seek for help. Don't keep quiet. Seek for help. If you have to um, have a pen pad as your friend, then let it be your friend where you can express yourself, pen down your thoughts. That would also give you some sort of relief. Remember that your mental health is very important. It doesn't mean you are crazy. It doesn't mean you are mad or something, but it just simply means that you are stressed up and you need to relieve yourself of the stress. For financing for education, yes, we had Mr. Didi Agbola and Mr. Akusa Clyde, where Mr. Akusa Clyde, social entrepreneur, telling us as young people what we can do, how we can help the society by doing some social work. It's also one of those things to help in the education sector. There are things that we can do. Come up with those ideas, and you can always buzz them up. It would always help you in channeling those your thoughts. Those are social thoughts as well. Same with Didi Agbola, who was with us, how education can be um, things can move with financing. Do not think of depending on only. Do not think of depending on only foreign investors. Um, let us begin to look inward. So as students, some of us are students, some of us are out of school already. Start changing your mindset that you want to give back to your alma mater. You want to give back to the society. With that mindset, we can all make education better in Africa. So today we are going to be going on with the conference, and we're starting. Before then, I'd like to recognize some of our. I would like to recognize our partners. I'd like to recognize our partners. They have um, the Ellen Marshall Foundation, the ASEAN Youth Organization, and the Gallup Zuban. We are very happy to be in partnership with you, and we look forward to renewing our partnership this year as well, and breaking new grounds, as well as touching more lives this year. Thank you very much for partnering with us and for believing in the dream of Jed Child Trust Foundation. Also, I would like to especially recognize um, some of our guest panelists. Some spoke yesterday, some will be speaking
He's
today.
asking for that one that says that I will be attending.
Technical team, please, can you mute everybody's audio, please? The conference has started. I would like to say, would like to recognize Dr. Alex Ways, Carl, Muiwa Fashaki, Aisha Joseph, Tamara Morita, Adebusi Tayo, Desmond Inebwe, Jide Abuola, Clive Akosa, David Dande, Pat Patience, Asinwe, Otto Musinguzi, Ben Moon, Obalemu Favor, Ojo Abiola, Solomon Adebola, Ilsin, Larewaju, Arome Omachako, and our amiable Executive Director, Eberechuku Joseph Omanam. So I'd like to say thank you to all of them for their participation in this conference, and also for our guest panelists, yesterday's panelists, and today's own. We look forward to having um, an interesting and informative session today. So, with no further ado, we'd like to go into the signing of MOU with partners. We'd like to go into the signing of MOU with partners. We now call on the Executive Director, Mr. Joseph. We call on Mr. Joseph to do us the honor of signing of the MOU with partners. Thank you. Mr. Joseph.
Hello. Before Joseph would start, I think I'll give an introduction.
Okay.
Yes. Before he. Yes. So, good evening, everyone. Today, I would like to talk to you about the importance of providing education that is accessible, equitable, relevant, and impactful in Nigeria using technology through YesTech. So this is why we are signing the Memorandum of Understanding. Nigeria, like many other developing countries, faces a number of challenges in providing education that is truly accessible, equitable, relevant, and impactful for all of its citizens. These challenges include poverty, lack of resources, and inadequate infrastructure, among others. However, with the advent of technology, there is a new opportunity to overcome these obstacles and provide education that truly serves the needs of all Nigerian citizens. Yes Tech is a Philippine-based technology company that specializes in providing education through our learning management system and our expertise in research and workshops through education. We use a variety of tools, including online learning platforms, mobile applications, to make education really accessible and impactful for students in the Philippines, Nigeria, India, and even in the United States. One of the key ways in which YesTech makes education more accessible is by using our YesTech Premium and Basic, and of course, reaching out to teachers through our webinars, which we will be doing this February. These platforms allow students to access educational content from anywhere at any time and on any device. This is particularly important for students living in remote or underserved areas who may not have access to traditional brick and mortar schools. However, in Nigeria, I think you have that as well. This helps to ensure that all students, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status, have access to the same quality education where children in America have access, children in the Philippines have access, and in India. So we will be bringing it to Nigeria through our teacher training program. Furthermore, YesTech leverages technology to make education really relevant in Nigeria. We work closely with educators and other experts to develop educational content that will be targeting the local context and addresses the specific needs of Nigerian teachers and students. Finally, Yes Tech uses technology to make education truly impactful. Through our partnership with Jed Child Trust organization, we believe we can make a difference, contribute to the betterment of the state of education. We use data and analytics to track student progress and provide feedback to teachers and parents, which will help to ensure that students are learning effectively and making progress towards their goals. In conclusion, by using tools such as online platforms, mobile application, and the way that we will deliver learning, we believe that it will be really a good journey for Jed Child Trust organization and Yes Tech IT Solutions. Thank you very much, and good afternoon over there. Good evening to my friends from the Philippines.
Thank you, Dr. Alex. It's nice knowing that you believe in Jed Child Trust and you're working with us, and the partnership works as well. Okay.
Very, very much so.
So, Mr.
Yeah,
Joseph,
yeah,
back to
I'm right
you for the
here.
signing of the MOU and
Yeah,
and partnership. Yes.
yeah. First of all, I thank Dr. Alex. Dr. Alex is a great person, and I thank her for sharing in the vision of Jed Child Trust Foundation. And as she said, the purpose of this partnership is to empower people who are in the rural areas to be better equipped with modern teaching trends and digital skills and knowledge. And I'm happy to say that this our partnership goes in line with a partnership which we had with the Federal Ministry of Education in November. And this our trainings has been approved by the Federal Ministry of Education. And we, through this partnership, are going to provide training for teachers in the rural areas, 21st century skill training, which includes how to use digital skills in research and in teaching. And as Dr. Alex also mentioned yesterday, this partnership will help in reskilling, retooling. Dr. Alex, what's the third one? I think I forgot.
Reskilling, retooling, and retraining of the teachers since
Yeah.
they need that. Of course, we talked about the kids being digital natives. They know more than the teachers in terms of using gadgets and learning management systems. So we have to make sure that teachers are very knowledgeable with these things as well.
Yeah. So Dr. Alex is the founder of the Yes Tech, and the essence of this whole thing is to make sure that education is quality education is provided to children in the rural areas. That is the reason why we exist. That is the reason why we started Jed, and that's the reason why Jed is still living. And we thank Dr. Alex for this wonderful opportunity and agreements to have a partnership with us to provide training for those teachers. So I would want Dr. Alex, can you please expand the scope of this partnership to the people here so that they would also have a full understanding of I think make it more relatable, like what should they expect, like in a
Yes.
more pragmatic
Actually,
way?
yes, we have a video, and we actually have I don't know if you could show it. Let me try to pull it out if it's here.
Yeah, you mean okay, let me just say.
Okay, so anyway, I can just talk about it. So with the partnership that we have with Jed Child Trust organization, it is more than 3 years. So the commitment is there. It's so that it will be sustainable, as we talked about sustainable education. So for the very first year, we will be training about 3,000 teachers, and we will be starting to roll it out this February, middle of February. And so we are excited to do that. What's included there is that there are some stipulations where we will be training the teachers through a curriculum that would really answer the needs of Nigeria. So it means that, yes, it's gonna show. So it means that we have a promise and we will fulfill it. And we focus on the needs of the teachers, the needs of the students, so that we can really make sure that what we are giving is relevant and will be in trend for the future. Of course, what is included there is that we will not get any payment from Jed Child Trust. However, we will be working hand in hand with them, as we will get testimonials in terms of how successful our program is. So that is the introduction. I've talked about it already, so I guess they can just play the video and of course keep going because I have already spoken about the introduction. Yes, okay, so could you pause here? So yes, over there, could you pause there? So we are here to improve education, and we have created a prospectus for the teachers so that we make sure that we address this. And we have been working with this with Joseph since last year. It's not an instant thing. We have really looked at what the needs are in order to make sure that it is relevant really. So we have we will be providing good education and curriculum, and lecturers that really are up to par with what is happening with technology and education as well. So not only that, we also are preparing our learners and our teachers for real life challenges. We will not be giving whatever subject it is. We will be equipping them with 21st century skills. We'll be talking about mental health and wellness and things like that that are really relevant. And of course, I think we'll be throwing in like some stuff about financial literacy and other really important matters that could contribute towards the growth of Nigeria as a nation as well. So we have amazing lecturers. Muyua Fasakin actually is one of our lecturers. We didn't put all of them, but as you know, Maria Pelosis is actually connected with the United Nations, and she teaches in Cambodia, so she will be helping out as well. Then we have Professor Shilpagari Ganpule, who is a multi-awarded educator. She is actually in India, and she is the head of one of the departments there in terms of education research and teacher development. Then we have Dr. Lorenzo Sablay. He is a medical doctor, but also teaches through United Nations, and he is actually a YICAP, a policy maker. When we talk about that, it's about the environment and youth, and so he focuses on that. So we have a lot of people that will be helping out, because it takes a village to help with the teacher trainings. And also the following courses will include leadership in the classroom, values formation, and personality development, which is really imperative for teachers, because we want our teachers to be really presentable as well, so their students will also love going to school. And it really students are visual when it comes to learning, so whatever they see, they would love if their teachers are really prepared, etc. So we also will be having methodologies in teaching and delivery, mental awareness and mindfulness, materials and resources for multi-grade classrooms, so we have that. And climate and environment awareness, as it is one of the things that we are most concerned about. And of course, good hygiene practices for our students. Of course, we want them to practice that. And gender equality, as we know, Joseph, the director of Jed Child Trust organization, is very big on women and girl empowerment. And so we really have to focus on gender equality. And of course, the empowerment foundation of education. So these are the things that we are going to target on, and we are going to make sure that they are equipped with what we give them. So I think for the toast to the future, I think Joseph, we could just exchange the memorandum of agreement via email. And so we could have say vote of thanks to somebody, I don't know who, probably Tayo or Arom. I think Arom could do that.
Yeah, Dr.
Go
Alex,
ahead.
thank you very much. And to bring this home to the Nigerian parlance, to the African parlance, is like I know most of us that attended the public primary school, I think you must have a teacher, you must have had a teacher who normally wears a very long trouser, draws it to the stomach, and always has a very funny accent while teaching. I know these are common. And we're also aware that sometimes you see maybe your biology teacher, your integrated science teacher may be a graduate of social studies. Maybe he is teaching what exactly is not related to his field. So how do we prepare these teachers who are in the rural areas to be able to give quality education to these children? How do we do that? That is the essence of this partnership. And that is the reason why Dr. Alice and YesTech is stepping in to help us bridge that gap. They are ready to help us commit towards building a better educated Africa, and we are very grateful for that. So that is she has already discussed the key components of the partnership. So the partnership is they are going to organize training in partnership with our organization, and to make sure that this training gets to the rural teachers, and it's going to be done based on local governments. We have teams in 9 states going to 12 states now, and we'll begin with the 9 to 12 states. And every year we have a target of reaching to 3,000 teachers, as she mentioned, and we have to rescale, we have to retool. And Dr. Alice, please help me again.
And retrain.
Yeah, we'll have to retrain them.
And I
So,
can already say your name. Manam.
Jesus.
Woman.
One chance. So, yeah, thank you very much. That was a sweet attempt. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, I think the partnership we've already signed. We're just going to exchange the details of the partnership. But the essence of doing this is to make it clear to everybody that the Jed Child Trust Foundation, from this day henceforward, is now officially in partnership with YesTech IT Solutions, a company that is based in the Philippines and headed by Dr. Alice Rice. So we look forward to the product of this partnership, and we hope it will help us make the difference which we hope to achieve. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if I'm the only one excited about this partnership, but it's a good one. In fact, I'm looking forward to seeing the teachers in the rural areas. They're enjoying it. Hey, I wish I'm living in the rural area now, so that I'll just start teaching, and benefit from this. But this is a good initiative. Jed Child Trust, you're doing a good job by reaching out to teachers, because they are the ones that will teach the children. And having quality education is not only about the children receiving it, but also the people who are going to be impacting the knowledge. So thank you very much, YesTech, for believing in Child Trust. And we look forward to breaking new grounds together as we move on. So moving on to the next, we're starting our session now. We're starting our session, and the first session, which is climate. Our first session for today is the climate. We are going to be talking on climate, and for this session, oh, sorry, that's an error. We are going to talk on gender, intergenerational dialogue on delivering quality education to African girls. For this session, we are going to be having Patience and Asimwe. They will help us with their surname. I can't pronounce it. don't murder names as I've murdered Mr. Joseph's name yesterday. So I'll be calling in Patience, Miss Patience, and Miss Asimwe. Unfortunately, Miss Gabrielle Gay would not be available. She's unavoidably available today. She would not be around for this session because due to some reasons. And moderating for this session is Panit Cow. So, Panit Cow, over to you. This session, Gender Intergenerational Dialogue on Delivery Quality Education to African Girls. I'm calling on Panit Cow. She's a proactive and creative change maker. We all know that for you to be able to do something, you must be very passionate about changing your environment. And that's what Panit Cow is. She's a political science and is currently pursuing a postgraduate diploma in environmental law and policy. So for this session on gender, Panica will be moderating it. Alongside with her as guest panelists will be Patience and Asimwe. Thank you. Panis, are you here? While we're waiting for Panis, let's let's watch one of our transformational videos. While we're waiting for Panis, let's watch our transformational video.
Why we are here is for your welfare. For your welfare.
I see it as a privilege and honor to stand before you this morning. Just briefly, the presentation is going to be brief. Yes, very brief. My name is Chinonso Dineya. I'm a teacher. By the grace of God, I'm a graduate of education chemistry, solid chemistry and education. It is actually very customary most times teaching the kind of children that we teach every day is a very Herculean task. I know the job of a teacher. After writing your lesson plan and preparing all the beautiful lessons, and then coming over to deliver, it's as if you are pouring water on top of a cocoyam. So the children will not understand. So, but the point is, the reason why I gave us okay. Yes, the thing is but I think I will make sure I get extra copies of it for everybody, for reference purposes. All right. So, but the point is, sometimes we may be wondering whether some children, some pupils that we teach, their brains are locked up in such a way that whatever we say don't sink in. We may feel that way sometimes. The way, two of us. Yes, we feel the same way sometimes. After teaching, it happens to be that only few among, probably we have a class of 50 or 25, 30, 40 students, only few of them that will understand all the 1 hour English and the Igbo mixed together that we spoke. And then most times we see some of them distracted. They start scribbling something on the paper, drawing, and the rest of them. Research have found that no child is more intelligent than the other. So that is research. Scientists have found that no child is more intelligent than the other. That is the point. The reason is because all of us have the same brain. And our brains, according to research, is so large that it has the speed of about 75,000 computers connected together. Like all our brains, one by one, the speed we process information is as fast as 75,000 computers connected. Like one computer cannot do 100,000, 50,000 computers cannot do what our brains will do. And nobody is left out, unless if the person has extreme medical condition that one way or another affected the brain capacity. Yes, like there are children that probably convulsion and all that affected them when they were younger, and then it did a lot of damage on their brains. But any normal child has that special capacity in our brain cells. So we have one brain cell. The capacity of one brain cell is higher than any computer, like one brain cell. But we have the brain cells we have is the millions, millions. So that tells you the amount of information that we can process as human beings. So now the problem is, why is it that some children appear more intelligent than others? And that is the question we want to understand. And when we understand the children that we teach, it will help us to know the approach to teach them, and they will understand. So that's why we want to talk about the brain. Our brain, if an operation, a surgery is carried out and then the skull is removed, our brain has two lobes, two hemispheres. We call them hemispheres. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. So like it is on that
and it is
yes, that I gave you. So the left brain and the right brain.
that is in transit.
And then
So she would
we have
probably
the
join
cerebral
us
cortex,
along.
which is right in front of our forehead here. It is part of the brain that processes information. In fact, that is where we learn. We learn from. So the two sides of the brain still have the two cerebral cortex, right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. So now the point is that we have more children that that learn from with their right brain than the left brain. And it happens that the approach we usually adopt in teaching only benefits that minority. You see the problem? The problem is that the approach that we mostly use in the class to teach mostly benefits the minority. So those minority, if you look at this material I have, the left brainers are mostly the people who benefit. For the left brainers, they understand verbal, like the talk and chalk method, lecture methods that is mostly adopted by teachers. So left brainers, they understand. As we are speaking, they will capture it very clear. They understand language very well. That's why they could easily learn any language. They also understand logic. They understand maths, analysis, sequence, facts, linearity. So these are the usual thing, the context of how our lessons are usually structured. But that is different from the right brainers. Those ones, they understand science more. So if you give them something that we change the lesson into visual, seeing it with their eyes, they learn better. They will understand better. And then they imagine so much. They're also very creative. So
Okay, we are back. Apparently, Panit, Transit, you'll join us as we're going, but let's continue the session. I believe Miss Patience is here. Miss Patience is here.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's nice. It's nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. Please, can you just introduce yourself for the for everyone to know? I
Okay.
couldn't pronounce your surname.
Oh yes, definitely. Just a minute, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patience Kiden Namanya. I'm a Ugandan national. I'll say the name again slowly. Patience Kiden Namanya. I'm a Ugandan national from East Africa, very excited and enthusiastic to be part of this conference. Together with the other panel speakers, we'll be discussing about how we can improve quality education for women and girls. I look forward to interacting with everyone on this call.
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction. Okay, so apparently, I think it's just two of us here. Panit will join us much later, and I think we should as well, maybe later. Okay, talking about gender and education, could we say that there's a lot of disparity? There's still a lot of disparity among boys and girls as regards education?
Yes, I'd just like to kindly ask if I could just switch off my camera. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit
No
of
problem.
internet. Okay, but you
Okay,
can hear
that
me?
works.
Can you
Yes,
clearly?
yes.
Okay, better. Yes, so I would agree that there is a huge gap between education for girls and boys that still exists today. When we look at the celebration of the International Education Day this year, the main emphasis is inclusive, equitable, and quality education for lifelong opportunities, which many girls globally do not have. UNESCO estimates that 244 million children and youth, right, were left out of school worldwide in 2021, of which 118.5 million were girls, 125.5 million were boys. What does that tell you? That there's still a huge gap, because we're looking at 25.5 for boys and 18.5 for girls. So when you look at that gap, universally, there has been a recognition that education should be a basic human right for everyone, but still our young women are uneducated, or our young women do not have equal access to education. So looking at the statistics, I would really agree with you that there is a huge gap between boys being educated and girls being educated. And the COVID-19 pandemic even made the situation even bigger, with a lot of boys being prioritized to go to school after the COVID-19 pandemic, and the girls being pushed to stay at home.
Okay. So how do we then this narrative? How we change? There's been a lot of talks, there's been a lot of campaigns, but it seems like can you make you say improvement? That campaign, been a lot of movement by several bodies and NGOs, advocacy groups, would you say there's been an improvement?
I'd say there has been an improvement, because even though we have a huge gap between the statistics I just read out about UNESCO statistics on the number of girls and number of boys who are out of school, we have to acknowledge the fact that there is a higher percentage of girls compared to, let's say, in the 1990s that are enrolled in school, a higher percentage of young women who are employed in the employment sector, a high percentage of young women who are taking up public leadership roles in our communities. We have to acknowledge that that exists. However, when you look at the ratio of young people, we have an estimated 226 million African youth on the continent. The future of our continent lies in our hands. I always repeat this because I think it's a staggering statistic that should wake us all up. I mean, most of us on this call are young people. If we are 226 million, how can we shape our continent? How can we change the development trajectory of our continent? And that is not possible if we're leaving behind women, if we're leaving behind young girls, if we're not including them in access to quality education. And I think there are just a few, I'd say 6 pointers that I think we need to look at when we look at how are we going to improve access to education or quality education for young women. We need to look at inclusive learning environments. I know majority of the people on this call are from Nigeria. We have an issue in Africa. You look at Congo, even in Uganda, my own country, where girls in rural areas do not have access to quality education because of remoteness, number one. In rural settings, when your school is far away from you, your parents prioritize the girls doing household chores, fetching firewood, fetching water, because they look at the women as future mothers as compared to the boys who are looked as future engineers, doctors, politicians. So our the gender stereotypes that exist in our communities continue to drive the gender gap that we see in access to education. So when we look at remote areas, if we can bring these schools closer to the remote areas, we can close down this bias that no, the girls should fetch firewood and you know, fetch water, and there's a school next door. If she goes for 1 hour, she can fetch firewood after. So increasing inclusivity of learning environments supports girls who are faced with gender stereotypes like that. Number two, we have gender-based violence. Girls on the way to school are harassed, they are abducted, they have psychological attacks or bullying on the way to school. Some teachers also do not appreciate girls in their classrooms. So this gender-based violence discourages a percentage of girls from going to school. How do we tackle this? By having campaigns at the grassroots level in rural areas that educate parents, that educate grandparents, that educate communities, the importance of having girls in school, the importance of having women leaders. We have women in girls in conflict areas. They will not go to school. Africa has so many states that are in and out of civil conflicts, and the girls in these areas are predominantly shut out from education because they go through, once again, sexual slavery, harassment, forced exclusion, targeted attacks. You know, we have communities that are very conservative and don't want girls in school. In times of conflict, these girls are targeted. So how do we do that? By working towards achieving Agenda 2063 as young people. We need to be aware of the youth, peace and security agenda for young people. How are we involved in that? How do we make our leaders accountable to make sure that our communities are safe for these young girls during conflict crisis? Going away from even conflict crisis, we have the prevailing climate crisis, where we have a growing number of climate migrants. And during climate migration, once again, girls will not be prioritized. So how do we do that? We start at a policy level as well, where we put in policies that actually ensure that at the district level, at the rural level, girls are still allowed to come back to school. Girls are still given access to quality education. Right? And then we also look at access to simple, basic things that may look simple to us in the city, but safe drinking water, separate bathrooms for girlfriends, resources, for girls, resources for menstrual hygiene. These are things that discourage certain girls from coming to school, or will lock them out for a few days in a month because they don't want to come to school. Then we have
Okay.
trained teachers. The quality of the teachers in these different educational institutions need to be trained. They need to be able to develop the cognitive skills, the numerical skills of young people. And when you're looking at girls, we need to also go back to our communities. When you're raising girls, they always give girls toys. They'll give boys cars. So when we go back to a household level, how are we raising our girls or enhancing their skills to be able to grasp when they go to the classroom? If you're always teaching your boy to be able to be smart, to be intellectually capable of grasping things, but you're pushing the girl towards cooking, towards fetching firewood, fetching water, when you do put her in the classroom, she will not be as competitive as the boy. So we need to train our teachers to be able to look at these gaps and help polish the students they have in their classrooms. Then we have another problem of the approach to education, right? We have 147 million children are estimated to have missed class instruction over the past 2 years. And this translates into $17 trillion of lifetime earnings lost in our generation, right? So what does that mean? Our approach to education needs to be more inclusive, and an approach that looks at, okay, we went through the COVID-19 pandemic. We as countries and globally are moving into the fourth industrial revolution. How are we making our education curriculums to be able to fit the demands of the future? How are we equipping our girls to be able to fit that? We have initiatives like the Adolescent Girls Initiative by the World Bank in Liberia that provides girls 16 to 27 life skills, training, and job placement assistance. I personally am part of Project Girls for Girls, which is a Harvard University-based project that empowers young women to take on public leadership roles in their communities. And here we're looking at simple skills that transform so many women. We're looking at negotiation skills, communication skills, ethics and leadership qualities that you need to know going into the job field or going up the leadership ladder. We also have trainings by BRAC in Uganda and Tanzania that are giving young people technological skills. If we have more young women in STEM, we're closing the educational gap that we have. We are providing access to quality education. And this is as simple as schools opening up, science project labs or introducing artificial intelligence classes, starting them young, introducing them to these different models of education and different forms of skills that would transform their ability to be employed in the future, which we see very many young girls lack when they do get to the point of graduating or after landing a job. You lack the ability to sit in a boardroom and negotiate for your salary. You lack the ability to, sit with your male counterparts and competitively pitch for a project. Why? Because from the beginning, when you were taken to nursery or to primary school, the quality of education did not tap into those skills of yours, and we need to change this. So what I was emphasizing is actually making African education systems to fit for the future, right? And when we look at the statistics today, women represent 3% of technology graduates globally. 3%. And obviously the 97% is men. So increasing their access to this through these different projects I mentioned before also increases the accessibility of young women to quality education. Then we need to look at what is, should I say, a trending topic in education right now: increasing international and national education financing. We see so many governments focusing their finance into military, you know, ensuring that their military hardware is as strong or as updated as possible, and leaving behind the importance of investing in their young people. Because when you invest in the youth, whether they're boys or girls, you are equipping the next generation of your country to be able to defend your country, whether it's in a military capacity, through health, through education, through whatever sector that your country needs to develop through. So what we need is to actually have governments dedicating 20% of their budgets to education. 20% of their budgets to education. And not only dedicating that, but also looking at implementation, because we know in Africa, implementation is one of our biggest problems. We have amazing policies written. We have amazing NGOs working with us. We have collaboration with so many international NGOs, but implementation is one of the biggest problems we have. So if we can have education financing targeting improving the number of schools, the distribution of schools, the curriculums, providing scholarships or access to affordable education for girls who probably have dropped out of school, you know. We also go into girls who have been affected by pregnancy, migration problems. Access to education financing is going to greatly improve access to quality education for girls, amongst the many other points that I've noted before. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's mind-boggling as the wealth of information that you to us here. Panit is around. Yes, you're welcome, Panit. Panit.
Hello. Thank you so much
Hi.
for, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can
Yeah.
hear you. Okay, before I hand over to you, Patience, I'm very, in fact, I'm perplexed as to the statistics that we have. Having 3% of women that tech graduates globally, it's something out of 100%, just 3%. That's quite very low. That's quite very low. And there's a lot of things that needs to be done about it. This I'm very sure this is a very good forum for us to discuss and, channel a way out on how we can reach out to more women, more girls out there. So over to you, Panit. The session is now in your hands.
Thank you so much for taking over. And Patience, that has been really mind-boggling. So since this is like a little reunion of sorts for both of us, because we were part of the Global Leadership Challenge by Oxford University, where we worked together on ideating a solution on gender equality. So Patience, my question to you would be, how do you think we can curate gender responsive curriculum that can allow women, African women to be better situated and to better leverage their capacities, and be successful in the educational front and also in securing jobs? So yeah.
Thank you, Parneet. Unfortunately, I had mentioned earlier, I have a bit of an internet glitch, so I missed the first half of your question. If you could just kindly repeat it for me.
Yeah, sure. So I was asking whether there are any gender responsive, how can we incorporate or even curate gender responsive curriculum to, to build capacity in African women, and also how these gender responsive strategies and curriculum can be leveraged by women in securing better job opportunities.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually touched on a bit of this in my earlier presentation, but gender responsive curriculum for African women, I think we have to go back to what I talked about, addressing gender stereotypes. If our curriculum continues to address the fact that girls and boys have an equal right to education. If I sit in a classroom and I am empowered or emancipated to believe that John and I have an equal ability to study sciences, John and I have the same equal ability to be parliamentarians. If this is ingrained into our curriculum, we're definitely going to empower women, because if I'm hearing this from primary school going up, then I believe that more girls will be empowered to go through the different stages of education. I think another thing that we also have to look at in our curriculum is how do we accommodate girls who are excluded? How do we accommodate girls who are from disadvantaged communities? I personally am from Uganda, and I've been in school with girls who probably came from rural areas, and their parents put them into schools in the city, you know, or your parents send you to another city to study. But because of the gap between what an urban student has experienced and what a rural student has experienced, their learning comprehension is very different. Yeah, but the curriculum does not cater to both. Okay, the curriculum will not be able to support both the rural and the urban student. This also goes back to the gap in education that we have, especially in Uganda right now. When the COVID-19 pandemic happened, internet data in Uganda is so expensive. So the people who can afford it, it's about 10% of the population. And these are people in the urban areas who have access to internet. And even when you do have access to internet, it's not stable. So many schools in Uganda closed down, and international schools in urban centers continued. What does that tell you? That 10% of the population's children were still going through school because they had access to internet and their schools went virtual, while the other children in rural areas were excluded. When these children were excluded, what happened? They went into farming. Girls went back to fetching firewood, fetching water. Sexual assault was on an increase. The number of teenage pregnancies in Uganda is in thousands, and it's a huge problem right now. So if we are looking at the curriculum moving forward, how are we going to address this current situation where we have so many thousands of girls who were pregnated during this this period, thousands of girls whose parents said, okay, now schools are opened, but our sons will be the ones, you know, to carry our family forward. So you will stay behind. How does our curriculum accommodate these different groups of people? The children in the rural areas, the children in the urban areas, the children who were sexually assaulted, and the children who are not prioritized for education. And our curriculum does this by we talked about education financing, making education affordable, having schools that are affordable for children, and also having hybrid schools in rural areas. Because many rural areas, if the internet is not on or school is closed, you have to use a radio to listen to a small talk show about your school curriculum. So if we have this that encompasses the different minority groups or disadvantaged groups, I think our curriculum or our education system can empower more children and accommodate excluded women. And also emphasizing on the point of pregnancies, because in Uganda it's really terrible. We need schools that are going to also provide mental and psychological support to these girls, because girls coming back after giving birth, I am a mother, but I'm not in school, right? But the mental transformation you go through after giving birth, and you can imagine they have been shamed by their communities. They also have the trauma of sexual assault. The education curriculum needs to accommodate this. We need mental health mental health awareness or strategies incorporated into our curriculums that are going to empower this generation of girls that have been disadvantaged. And also adding to that, my last point is we need to also emphasize soft skills. Like I mentioned before, I work with Project Girls for Girls, and we have we work with graduates, we work with corporate institutions, we work with different stages of women at different levels. And the one thing you see is women lack the confidence to believe that they fit on the table with men. They fit in different places. You will have a woman working for MTN Uganda, which is a big telecommunications company in Uganda, and she believes, I'm already in MTN, I cannot go further. You know, my boss will be a male, the boss after that will be a male, but you say, no, what is your vision? What is your skill? What got you here? Are you good at talking? Are you good at writing? Are you good at computer? Are you good at pitching? Tapping into the skills of different women and using those skills to empower them. I believe if we put that into our curriculum, which in Uganda, personally speaking, in Uganda, we do not have an emphasis on skills. It's an emphasis on curriculum that I believe is outdated. If our curriculum can accommodate excluded girls, can be relevant to, you know, the 21st century and help young women to be absorbed into the job market, right, which is highly digitalized right now. And if it can be affordable, I believe we'll be able to empower more women.
Thank you so much. You know, the answer that you've given has given me an insight into so many things, and that has and now I want to probe you further with respect to the one thing that you've been constantly mentioning, that the rate of teenage pregnancies keeps the women out, keeps the girls out, and there is stigma associated with it. So what policy interventions do you think you know, the government needs to make, and what changes do we need in the school curriculum which can help counter the stigma attached and also impart sex education so that these things do not happen?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think even in Nigeria, where most of our listeners are from, we come from a very, and I think even India as well, we come from a very conservative society. So our approach to sexual education is very coveted, you know, it's a hush-hush topic. So it's not something people openly discuss with their children. It's something you are warned about. Don't get pregnant, but the conversation about pregnancy is not expanded on. You know, do not be around boys, but the conversation of how you get into that situation is not expounded upon. So when we look at sexual harassment of young women or school-going children, because of its hushness of the society, these girls are left vulnerable to these predators, vulnerable to these perpetrators. And especially when during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was uncles, it was brothers, it was, you know, fathers, and the closest people to these young children. And to answer this question, I also want to draw into a personal experience I had. I grew up in Namibia, which is an African country as well. And when we were in primary school, as young as primary school, because in Namibia, they also have a high rate of gender-based violence and sexual assault for young children. We had what, I don't know if that organization still exists. This is about, 20 years ago, Childline, where they would go to schools and teach you, if someone touches your thigh, say no. If someone does this, tell mommy it wasn't a good feeling, or tell uncle you're giving me the no feeling. And it was taught to us through songs, don't touch, if someone is to touch you, let them touch your shoulder, let them touch your hand. It was through songs, playful songs that would even sing while we were playing. And when it actually did happen, you had a little ruler that they gave you with a number that you could call and say, I have been assaulted, I have been this. So that education for me as a young woman, I went with it, and it carried me through education, and even in the work environment where sexual harassment, even in Uganda, is still a big thing, and it impedes development of young women. So if we are opening up our young people and explaining to them, this is the situation you need to avoid, this is what you need to do to step out of the situation, and we're doing this in schools, I believe we're empowering young people to understand how to protect themselves from these situations. Number two, the number of girls who are pregnant or have given birth during this 2-year hiatus from school. what we need to do is, in my opinion, have schools or train even teachers to be more responsive, to be more accommodating of these young girls, because teachers also go in with their own stereotypes, you know? But if you have a teacher or you have a school that is saying, okay, these young girls are about, let's say, 800 in our village, we're going to have a semester for these girls to come to school. And during that semester, I believe it could probably be hard running it concurrently with normal children. But during the semester for these girls, they have the mental health awareness. Their timetable is set up in a way that someone has an opportunity to breastfeed, you know, someone has an opportunity to also express what they have lacked in, you know, in terms of falling back in education. Because if you sit in a classroom with people who have continued with education, people who don't have children, your learning ability is different. So I think these children need to be given a special project where we educate them and reintroduce them into society more empowered, more enlightened, and capable of transitioning or following their friends into university, into the job market, empowered, enlightened, and not restricted by the trauma of what they went through.
That's really insightful, and your idea on how to, tackle this is something that we can definitely take from. It has given me an insight into how to, tackle these things, because it's very important. So my next question to you would be, what responsibility does the older generation play in this intergenerational dialogue, and how can the older generation ensure a sustainable and gender responsive framework for education?
Thank you. I think that is also very important. So the older generation would be looking at people who are currently in power right now. I believe that would be speaking to those people, but that is the older generation. And their responsibility to our generation is to, one, implement the policies that are put in place to ensure inclusive, equitable, and quality education. If these policies that are suggested, these SDG goals that countries have signed to, if they, as our leaders, can implement them, not only at a policy level, but also at a grassroots level through local council leaders, through parliamentarians, through the education system, and most importantly, through their budgeting, because where you put your money is where you pay attention to. That's what I believe. Wherever you allocate your money is what you're paying attention to. So policy implementation is very important. Transforming the curriculum. I believe our curriculum right now is not going to shape the next generation of African leaders. If we have a curriculum that is just focused on information that is not going to be able to make African women or African youth compatible with other global young people, then we're doing a huge disservice. Because even I'll go back to our experience at Oxford University. During that training, we have even people like Perneet, who are way younger than our African counterparts, because you have access to more opportunities, you have access to more information, more education. So if our leaders can put in place access to opportunities, education, and financing for young people to actually gain global opportunities, to empower themselves. I'll give an example. In Uganda, when you look at India, you look at the USA, you look at the UK, even in Nigeria, I saw there is the EU Youth Advisory Board. In Uganda, I have not come across any youth advisory board. We do not have youth engagement platforms, apart from the ones that are put in through local government, that actually provide merit-based opportunities for young people to progress upwards. Let me give an example of my thinking. If we have a youth advisory board in our Ministry of Education in Uganda, and we have young educated Ugandans on this youth advisory board, if we have a youth advisory board in our Ministry of Finance, a youth advisory board or council in our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have young people shaping the vision, direction, and development trajectory of our country. So we need to provide young people with more platforms to influence the development of our country, and this will trickle down into our education curriculum, trickle into our financing, and trickle into empowering young people to believe that, okay, if I can see Patience Namanya is on a youth advisory board in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I also have the ability to go in there. I have the ability to tap into this and direct the development trajectory of my country. That's what I believe.
Thank you so much, Patience. The way that you're drawing parallels and destructuring it, layer by layer, I see that the comparison disparities that you have explored on so many levels, even at the national level, at the grassroots level, at the regional level, these are astonishing because that calls for a multi-pronged strategy to build a sustainable framework for African women. Since you've been focusing on so many aspects, there is one aspect that I would love for you to love your thoughts on, which is what role has neo-colonialism played in reinstating structures of discrimination and of suppression of African women? On to you, Patience.
Thank you, Parneet. The question is on neo-colonialism or colonialism?
Although it's originally on neo-colonialism, but I think that I should also ask you about the role that colonialism has played in regressing the African women, and also what role neo-colonialism is playing in reinstating structures of discrimination and suppression of women.
Okay, so colonialism here we're going to look at in an African context. When different countries were colonized, there was a huge divide and rule agenda with the colonialists. And when they came in my understanding, when they came into these African countries, they started by dividing our continent into their perception of borders or countries or states. This divided tribes, this divided families, and communities. And I'll go back to an East African context where I have more information or more knowledge. When you look at Uganda, the British government came in and they gave authority or sub-authority to the Baganda. The Baganda are an ethnic community located in the central part of Uganda, where currently right now, the central part of Uganda hosts the capital city of Uganda and hosts the biggest level of development in the country. So when these colonialists did that, the Baganda were above the other tribes. Today, even as I speak, the perception of the tribe of Baganda is that they believe they're on top of us. They believe they're better than us. Even I've had close friends who are Baganda because I don't believe in tribalistic lines. And these families would ask my friends, why would you have a friend who's a Munyankole? I'm from a different tribe. And they're like, why would you have a friend from that tribe? And I believe this also translates into Nigeria and different other countries. Colonialism re-emphasized tribalism. And tribalistic ideas in Africa continue to bring a cycle of conflict, violence, and political divide in our countries. Because when one tribal group ascends into power, the other tribal groups feel threatened. This dates back to colonialism, because the idea of colonialism was divide and rule. So they would constantly put tribes against each other. And even today, so many years ago, we still address each other in that way. Instead of looking at each other as Ugandans, Ugandans will always introduce themselves as Patience Namanya and Mamunyankole, and of which we continue to use this idea or this tribalistic notion in the way we rule our country politically, in the way we economically allocate opportunities. And I believe even in Nigeria, this is true. You know, someone probably who's a Yoruba will look for another Yoruba and give them an opportunity, which is in Uganda. They're going to look for their tribe mates to give them an opportunity. And I believe this is centered on colonial policies that were enshrined into our countries. And even today, when you look at areas that are suffering conflict in Africa, it's because of tribal issues. And when it's not tribal issues, it's political issues. But when you look behind the political issues, the political groups are divided into tribal affiliations. Tribal affiliations go back to the beginning of colonialism, when the colonial rulers came in and said, this tribe, you're here. This tribe, you're there. This tribe, you're in charge of this. This tribe, you're not in charge of anything. In the Ugandan history, the first political heads were Baganda. After that, we had a series of other leaders, and then we had Idi Amin, who was from northern Uganda. My father is from northern Uganda. Currently, right now, we have Museveni, who's from western Uganda. My mother is from western Uganda. I'm giving this context for you to understand how colonialism and neocolonialism continue to affect political and economic and social development in our country. When I walk into certain offices in Uganda, my name is Patience Kiden, because if I say my name is Namanya, where my mom is from, or where Museveni is from, there are some people who are against the ruling government, and I will not be given an opportunity to speak, or people will be biased against me from the beginning. But if I walk into a certain office and say my name is Patience Kiden, people are open to listening to you because they don't believe you're from the ruling tribe. You see? So when people continue to group themselves with these ideologies, and we're looking at neocolonialism. In neocolonialism, we have different countries influencing the level of development in our country, or influencing politics in our country. And when they're influencing politics, you have to, in order to influence politics, you have to influence a certain party. You have to influence a certain ruling group against the other. If we're looking at election, violence or elections coming forward. So different, let's say NGOs or groups are going to equip Baganda or equip Banyankole, and this divide continues. So I think, in my opinion, the beginning of dividing our continent by people who weren't from our continent continues to divide our continent and influence the way the people in our continent relate to each other. We say we are Africans, but most of us identify as our tribes first. And that is the biggest problem we have in empowering people. And another problem is in terms of women, is our tribalistic ideologies that continue to say the woman belongs in the home, the woman belongs in the kitchen, the woman belongs with the children. That even when a woman becomes, we have a situation in Uganda where a woman was a vice president of Uganda, but she was experiencing domestic abuse, meaning she headed the country during the day, and at night, her husband instilled or repositioned his African male authority in the house. So I think our tribalistic ideologies, religious ideologies, continue to suppress our women, and it is enhanced by the fact that we, because of our colonial mindset, that we are our tribes, we associate strongly with those beliefs and continue to repeat them and pass them down to generations. And this continues to suppress our women.
That's really, astonishing. And I think that bringing together colonialism into the mix has provided us a thorough narrative of where we have to attack, what is the root cause of this problem. And I think that this has been really insightful for all of us joining from, talking about colonialism and how it has played an important role, in what role it has played in injecting these stereotypes and even re-emphasizing these. So thank you so much, Patience. Now I would just like to check in if Gwen has joined in. Are you there, Gwen? Okay, I don't think so. She's joined us. So moving forward, I think that this has been very insightful. I would like to, pull this. I would like to end this conversation in one more question from my end, which is one thing that you've been focusing on are the hindrances to the implementation of these policies. And I would like to know what role does financing mechanisms play, and what structures of financing should be put in place, and how can we do that in ensuring a sustainable framework of education for African women? On to you, Patience. That's the last question from my end.
Okay, Perneet, I just want to kindly clarify. The question is, how can financing? I didn't get it properly.
Yeah.
Sorry, my internet,
Okay.
it keeps.
I'll reframe it. No problem. I'll rephrase it. How can we institute financing mechanisms to facilitate the creation of a sustainable framework of education for African women?
Okay, so I think when you emphasize the word sustainable framework, we're looking at a framework that goes down that passes down to generations, and a framework that works, an educational framework that can be implemented and does have impact. So I believe in terms of financing, I'll go back to an example from my country. We have the Ministry of Education that does the overall budgeting and financing for the education sector in our country. And then we have what I think it's called a decentralized system of government, where budgets are passed down to different district leaders, and then the district leaders pass them down to local council leaders, and then it goes down to a church level and a parish level. I think in different countries it's categorized differently. Now, what happens is at a state level, the financing for education, the priorities for education, the policies for education are highlighted. We have a national development plan. We have various conferences and development stakeholders spoken to, and they go out into the different regions to tap into these areas where education financing is needed. However, implementation falls short, one, most importantly, due to corruption. Because budgets are allocated, even when you're working with multinational stakeholders or private stakeholders, private company stakeholders, the implementation falls short due to corruption. The implementation falls short due to election of leaders who are in place but do not have the leadership skills or competence to implement policies that are directed at a state level. So when financing is distributed into these different areas, at a district level, the district distributes it to the parish and the church level. So somewhere along the line, money is lost. Somewhere along the line, policies are misinterpreted. Somewhere along the line, implementation falls short. And this is simply because, one, leadership, two, corruption. To me, those are the two main issues that are stopping the sustainability of education financing in my country, and I believe it can be translated into different African countries. So if we are educating people, because as a young Ugandan, I interact with so many Ugandans and, let's say, also East Africans and Africans from other countries who are not educated enough to understand the importance of electing proper leaders. When you don't understand that the leader you put in place is the one who directly influences development in your area, then you fall short of accessing basic needs. You have people during elections, it's a public holiday for them. They don't want to engage in electing proper leaders. So if we have proper leaders who are competent, we can be able to distribute education finance and implement it into areas where it's needed effectively. If we have corruption rooted out of our governments, then we are able to get budgeting, work with stakeholders, and implement financing where it's properly needed, and ensure that it's sustainable and inclusive.
Thank you so much, Patience. I think that's been a very overpowering and overarching conversation with you. It has, we have been able to touch on so many aspects. So now I would like to open the floor to the audience. If somebody would like to ask questions to Patience, now's the time. Please raise your hand and I'll just call you out.
Wow. And this is an interesting and informative session. We've dealt with a lot of things. There's obviously a lot of things to be done as regards education for women and gender parity. How do we go from here? What steps can we take from here? Patience has said a lot. In fact, I'm based in Nigeria. I can relate perfectly with what you say about ethnicity coming to play. I can relate with having a bit of difference in interaction with the male and the female, even in an office environment. There's always this ego thing. Let me share, while we're waiting for people to say something, let me share something that happened recently in a WhatsApp group. This is a social media group. And a conversation was happening and a lady came out to give an opinion and she was talked down and sent, and I think the statement that was made to her was, does she think she's talking to her husband at home in a public space? So I asked myself, in this time, in this age where we all know that there's nothing like male or female, we are all on the same level. For crying out loud, why would you say that to a woman? So it tells us that there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of orientation that needs to be done. And I also think that it should start from the home. What to tell your male child, how you groom your male child also tells how they relate with the opposite sex when they are grown up. So apparently I don't think we have anybody that wants to ask any question. I don't think we have. Everybody seems to be in agreement with this conversation today. Wow, that's interesting. So Panet, thank you very much for having you moderate this session. And Patience, thank you for your wealth of knowledge. We are very grateful. And I think this also has opened our eyes to the steps and needs that we need to make in regards to gender in Africa. Thank you very much. Please, can you give us your last word before we round off this session, Patience?
I'd just like to say thank you so much for having me on this call, Parit. Thank you for the questions. It also made me, open up my thinking to a lot of aspects of development in Africa and in my country. I'd like to tell the people on this call that, especially the young people, the future of our continent lies in our hands. And you need to open up your understanding of why you lack certain things in your community or in your household. And when you understand that, you're empowered enough to go forth and fight for what's right. That can be done through elections. You can do that through advocacy, and you can simply do that by educating yourself and making sure when the mantle is passed down from the current generation, you're ready to get it and lead our continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patience. Those are nice parting words. Panit, how would you like to end this session for us?
Actually, Patience and I met during the GLC Global Leadership Challenge by Oxford University. and we were working together on Sustainable Developmental Goal 5, which happens to be gender equality. So this has been a conversation that I was meaning to have, and this has given me an overarching idea of what interventions we have to make. So Patience, thank you so much for your insights, because it has given me, again, even though the questions, they allowed you to open up, for me, and I think for the audience, it might have been really insightful on so many levels. So we are the Indians who are joined. We are rediscovering Africa on a different, from a gender lens, right? From colonialist perspective. So thank you so much, Patience, for your time, and also thank you so much for Lukemi for this wonderful session.
Thank you. Okay, people, don't forget, I still have my recharge card to give out at the end of this conference. And not only that, we are also going to be giving out 5,000 Naira worth of voucher, shopping voucher. What you just need to do is to go to the chat room. There's a message there for you that describes the task that you're expected to do. In the chat room, the task is there. In the chat room, you have your task. Oh, sorry, my video is off. Sorry, my video was off. I didn't know that. Okay. Don't forget, just go to the chat room. You're going to be seeing the task to be done. And the person with the highest engagement gets to win the voucher. Please go to the chat room now and you see the task ahead. So let's go on a break. We are going on a 10 minutes break. Let's stretch our legs, take some snacks, water, before we head on into the second session. Don't forget, we are also awarding the winners of our essay competition 2022 edition. They are here. We have 3 winners, and they will be getting their certificate as well as the prize, the cash prize. So, see you. This is 1:41. See you in 10 minutes. Bye.
All things are possible because anything can be learned. Why? Because change is the end result of all true learning. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It is a continual process. It's like a bicycle. If you don't pedal, you don't go forward. Join Jed Child Trust Foundation today. Let's help raise the African child. Our mission is to ensure no child is prevented from going to school because of poverty. However, even more children need your support, as education is essential to breaking the circle of poverty. Most schools in Nigeria are often overcrowded, underfunded, and lack the basic facilities. Join Jed Child Trust today. Let's say no to dehumanization, gender discrimination, child trafficking, and denying an African child access to quality education.
Hi, my name is Shobande Daniel Adams, and I am a student of Jed Child Trust Foundation. We are a foundation that seeks to educate every African child, especially those in rural areas who do not have access to education. Statistics shows that 1 out of every 5 African child does not go to school. And we know that they have dreams, they have visions, they have voices that they want to be heard. And this can only be actualized through education. And we hope to, through our programs and research and outreaches, reach out to these selected few. We understand that we can't do this on our own. Hence, we are reaching out to you to join this movement, support us in. Thank you very much.
My name is Mrs. Chinaka Blessing. I'm a teacher in this school. And as a teacher, I'm here not because the government is taking care of us as they should. My name is Mrs. Chinaka Blessing. I'm a teacher in this school.
Good day, my name is Dorcas Oketoyi and I'm one of the FLC ambassador for this year, and I'm going to be answering few questions. So the first question says that what is the FEMELEX cohort about? The FEMELEX cohort is an online mentorship program which is available for young girls, mostly black young girls who are passionate about contributing their quota to the legal enterprise. So this platform offers them the opportunity of fulfilling their passion. So to the next question, we say that what are the things and the opportunities we're exposed to during the program? During the program, I was exposed to different opportunities, and one of which was that I was able to meet with the UNDP. I was able to meet with lawyers who are already in the path of the legal professions, like Miss Rosiana John, Miss Alessi Majorin, and so many others. And also I was able to learn about business, about setting the smart goals, fulfilling your vision, and how to go about it. So the third question says that were you able to network? Yes, I was able to network. I was able to meet young girls from different countries who have different backgrounds, and I was able to learn from their experiences, and I can relate to what they have. I can relate to their experience. So to the fourth question, it says that how was your overall experience at the cohort? During the weeks I spent at the cohort program, I was able to be in the midst of like-minded person. I was able to learn about on creating your own path. It's not necessary for you to tread on the path that other people have treaded on. I was able to learn a lot. I was able to learn different lessons from this cohort program, because this program is actually the first program that we attend that will give me an access to relating with girls from different backgrounds. So my experience was a wonderful one at the cohort. Then to the fifth question, it says that what advice do you have for young girls who are also seeking a career path in the legal enterprise? My advice for you is that you should discover yourself, discover your strength, your weakness, and don't limit yourself. So a big shout out to Jed Child Trust and Airline Broadshaw Foundation. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hi, my name is Leocadia from Kenya. I'm a FEMLEX Cohort Ambassador 2022. FEMLEX Cohort was about exposing young legal minds to the opportunities, entrepreneurial opportunities out here by mentoring through people who are already practicing and showing us the niches in the legal practice that are not yet flooded. We also learned how to come up with a business idea from your skill, passion, and how to come up with a good business model, how to have a proper position statement, how to manage finances, how to market yourself. Yeah. What opportunities was I exposed to? The mentors that were brought on board on the mentorship Mondays were really instrumental. I learned a lot. I saw how broad the legal profession is, and it gave me hope to start my own law firm that will also be doing consultancy. Yes, I networked because most of the students were from all over the world. At least I know people out of our country, and if I ever want my business to go international, at least I have contact people who would advise me on the regulations in the country and all. My overall experience with the cohort was awesome. At least it gave me a purpose, because every Wednesday and during the Mentor Mondays, I used to look forward to the classes. Yeah, and for young girls who are seeking a career path in legal enterprise, I would advise them to look for opportunities out here, like the FEMLEX cohorts and any other opportunity that can help them grow their career and not just focus on what's taught in class, because clearly law is wider than that. I want to shout out to the Jed Trust Foundation and the Ellen Bradshaw Foundation for this opportunity. I'm really glad I was selected, and the next time we have it, I'll advise most of my friends in the legal field to go for it, because I've really learned a lot, and I can't wait for me to put everything that I've learned into practice. So thank you so much, Jed Trust Foundation and the Ali Bradshaw Foundation.
We are back from our break. It's been an interesting session so far. Day two. My name is Folukemi Ikalia. Your moderator for the conference, and we've been together since yesterday. Today, we just finished the session with Patience and Panit, where they delved deeply into gender education, that's for girls, education for girls, and how there's a need for us to do more work. And I'm very sure Jed Child Trust Foundation is up to the task. Okay, moving on. We are moving to our next section, now. We are moving to our next section now, in where we'll be talking on climate change, climate education and disaster preparedness as part of the African curriculum. The emergence of COVID-19 taught us a great lesson. It also opened our eyes to the fact that we were not ready for emergency when things like this happen. So what do? A lot of people were out of school. Some schools shut down because they were not prepared and they didn't have what it needed for them to continue educating the children. So for this session, we are going to be having David D'Angelo, Otto Musiguzi, and Panit Cow. Panit Cow will be moderating the session for us as well. And I look forward to having the three of them that's topic. We are climate education and disaster preparedness as part of the African curriculum. On the screen, we can see the purpose for this topic is to examine the potential for incorporating climate education and decision preparedness when we are faced with disaster. So I'm calling on Panit Cow. As she will be.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you so much. Actually,
she's a speaker. She's a speaker for this session. And sorry, I thought we were both speaking and moderating at the same time. Okay, so I'm calling on Panit Cow, David D'Angelo, and Otto Musiguzi. If you are here, just let's hear you say hi to the audience.
Hello. Good day to everyone. Nice to meet everyone online.
Your name?
David D'Angelo.
Okay. And Otto, is Otto around?
Yes, I'm around. Nice to meet everyone here online, and I'm very happy to join you each and everyone that has spared their time to be with us today. Yeah, and looking forward to this very important and a discussion that I'm very passionate about.
Thank you. So, Panit, we've met you, but let us see you again. Let us meet you again. We're supposed to have
there's one thing that I would like to mention at the outset, that Kudrat will be moderating the session. She's joined us.
Yes.
So yeah.
Is she around?
Yeah, she's around.
Yeah,
she's around.
I'm here. Okay, fine. Okay, Kudrat Binda. Did I get your surname right?
Yeah, that was right.
Okay, so fine. So for this session, it's going to be moderated by Kudrat Binda. She's an English literature graduate and the secretary of Gallup Zuban, which is also a partner of Jed Child Trust. So thank you very much. Let's sit back and enjoy this interesting session coming up. Thank you.
So good evening, good afternoon, whatever the time of the day is right now, wherever you're sitting. So my name is Kudrat Bhinder, and today I'll be moderating this session. So the agenda for today's discussion is Sustainable Framework of Education for African Children. So the agenda for today is to discuss the purpose of the initiative and to analyze the potential for incorporating climate education and disaster preparedness into the African curriculum, and to explore the benefits and the challenges produced. The discussion will be done in pursuit of understanding the gaps and the knowledge base required for addressing them. So I'd like to start the discussion by introducing our very first speaker, Mr. Erdher Muzingizi. Mr. Erdher is based in Uganda. He is a climate justice advocate and environmental journalist. A social media influencer, Erdher has been harnessing his social media presence to create awareness and promote behavioral changes. primarily focusing on the significance of renewable energy. Other has been at regional energy dialogues on just energy transition organization in Uganda. Social media has proven to be a powerful platform on Other's journey as a change maker. He has championed green mobility in Uganda and Africa at large. The most prominent was the vehicle manufacturer Kira Motors. Other has also teamed up with Fridays for Future Uganda to spread the message of planting trees among school children. On to you, Other.
Thank you very much for the kind remarks. And thank you everyone for being here. So today in Uganda happens to be a very big day, a very big day in the life of education of any Ugandan. So today is the day when the PLE, which is the primary living examinations, are released in our country. And these exams determine significantly what someone turns out to be in future. And yes, there have been some great marks that we've seen so far. And from what I've seen today, the boys have performed a bit much better than the girls that were registered. The girls performed better with 51%, and the boys came last with 48.1%. The unfortunate bit with all of these increments, because since 2017, we've been seeing an increase in the number of candidates that have been registering and entering into the education system to higher levels of learning, such as the secondary, high school, and then university going forward. So therefore, I think by coincidence, this is a wonderful day for us to be discussing climate education and the disasters that are ahead. Because it is said that if you want to solve a problem, you have to start right from the cause. And the biggest cause of climate change and climate awareness is the fact that we do not have anything to do with that in our education system in Uganda. I don't know about other countries, so I'm going to specifically focus on the country where I come from and the education system that I particularly went through, and the challenges that the students have noticed over the years. So there is no climate education at all in our schools, and for this, it has been solely the effort of climate activists to establish environmental clubs and climate clubs in schools, which you've mentioned here. I've been moving around to different schools with Green Futures Initiative, Fridays for Future Uganda, among others, to establish clubs in schools that talk about the climate crisis and give children the knowledge on the climate crisis and make them aware that climate change is in fact something that is a sad reality that is with us and needs urgent and immediate action. So everything that has been learned in the schools, unfortunately here, has neglected the item of climate change. Even the at higher levels of education, such as at the university, still the challenge remains significant and consistent. And yet, Uganda, unlike very many countries, is in the global south, is one of the worst hit by the climate crisis. And specifically, I'm talking about 13 districts in Uganda, some and 6 others, then 9 others in the northeastern region, which is known as Karamoja. If there's any Ugandan here, they would attest that the situation is really warranting and extremely severe and needs urgent attention. So we have Uganda is well known to be the biggest host of refugees in Africa and in the world. And some of those districts, there are some districts in Uganda, 13 of those host the refugees in Uganda. Each year, according to UBOS, Uganda hosts close to above 1 million refugees from different countries. And these settle in the West Nile, Southwest, and in the central regions of the country. Some of these are children and youth that are supposed to be going to school. Some of these are children that are supposed to be also attending school like other people in America, Norway, India, among other countries that anyone would go to school to. Unfortunately, because of the climate disasters, many of the children do not have an easy way of going into their schools. But specifically, let me go to the part of the 9 districts of Karamoja, which among others include Moroto and Kabong, which are the worst hit by the climate crisis in Uganda. So in this area, students that are supposed to be going to school, like any normal child from, let me say, from America, from England, from Norway, from Germany, many of them are not going to school because of the climate disasters that are there in their areas. For example, specifically in Moroto and Kabong, very many of them are about 104,000 children there cannot even move to simple schools because of the very long distance that exists between the where they stay and where the schools are found. Because one day it is a extremely extreme drought, and especially the girls, they cannot even access clean water to clean themselves. Most of the water that is also very far from them is not safe, is not clean, and is dirty. So it is a very significant challenge for our students and very many of them, in fact, have ended up dropping out of school because they cannot be able to go to school smelling. Others have faced sexual harassment on their way to go and collect water, to also be smart like other children, to wash their uniforms, wash their bodies, and keep clean. Very many of them have been raped, as it is a norm in this area, that rape is something that is normal according to their culture. If in case you want to marry a girl just in the area, you force them and force the girl and then to have sex with you, and in the end, whoever wins will end up marrying. The boy will end up marrying the child, or the old man will end up marrying the child. So this brings me to another problem of early marriages and then teenage pregnancies, which are extremely rampant in the regions of the 9 districts and other areas of Uganda that are facing the climate disasters. Among other some of the climate disasters that we have landslides, we have floods, we have extreme drought, we have different areas that are seriously dry because of deforestation. We have people encroaching on wetlands, among others. So another thing that is in the area is extreme food insecurity, and as you know, it is almost impossible for a student to go to school on an open stomach and live on an empty stomach unless you're in COP. I'm sure I don't know whether all of you have been at COP, where the Conference of Parties of UN, the biggest, which discusses climate change. Recently, it was we were in Egypt, and The situation was also warranting. One would have to, especially people from the global south, would have to go and discuss of empty stomachs because everything was extremely expensive for people that come from very poor countries, such as those in the global south. Among others, obviously, is Uganda, Kenya, India, and other indigenous communities. So, unless you're in such an area, that's when you can probably stomach hunger. However, in Uganda, here, especially in those districts, the food insecurity is seriously significant. If you check on my social media, right now, I've retweeted some of the pictures that are very worrying. And very many children are on the verge of death. Over 91,600 cases of children are in need of treatment, and these are very children who would need the best methods of being taken care of, children of 6 to 59 months. And then we also have 69,000 children who are moderately have acute malnutrition. If you know acute malnutrition, that means a child is close to the verge of death. So this is how much climate change is significantly affecting our countries and the communities that we live in Uganda. To make it worse, even the mothers who would have breastfed their children, the lactating mothers, they are also malnourished. 9,500 mothers are acutely malnourished and are in need of treatment. So you can see that the climate crisis has significantly made education impossible for the people in the global south, and specifically those that are in countries such as Uganda. So it is a bit saddening that the education institution has not woken up to the reality that we need awareness significantly created around at the community level, at the national level, at the global level, for us to seriously take the issue of the climate crisis seriously. Because this is really killing very many children. It's really killing very many adults. Even adults are malnourished. Like I said, if you want to see these saddening situations, you can check on my Twitter account to actually see for yourself. Things are real and things are happening because of the climate crisis. Now, to make it worse, it is scientifically proven that in high temperatures, the menstrual cycles of children, of girls, gets more painful. So because of the global warming that is at 1.2 degrees Celsius today, unless anything has changed, and it's almost surpassing 1.5 degrees that was stipulated by the Paris Agreement for us to keep below, so that we keep the temperatures less warm for the entire world to be okay. We are seeing that very many human activities and fossil fuels are being invested in, unlike renewable energy, and they are making globally. That is globally. If you are following, you must have seen what is happening in Germany, an area called Lutzrath, and the Germany government removed a village and its activists that occupied it, and they did not want the extraction of coal to continue, among other places in the world where these situations are going, which and are in the end increasing the global temperatures that are affecting not just those countries, but all this global warming goes around into the rest of the world. So the situation is significant, much as it cannot be dealt alone with Uganda. We need Uganda and alone. We definitely need the understanding of different political leaders and investors to understand that the climate crisis is actually terrible and it needs immediate attention instead of simply talking around it and not having significant discussions be around it. So going to what I think could be the solution. So if you are vigilant and probably around in 1953, the Germany government, that was after World War II, had its debts cancelled by the during the London Agreement. So I significantly think that if global South countries such as Africa facing, such as those in Africa like Uganda facing the worst impacts of climate change can be forgiven of their debts, and this money instead channeled into issues that and projects that can be helpful in helping our nations to avert the climate crisis. This would be very significant in helping us to go a very long way in making the students remain in schools. Among others, definitely would be increasing, implementing water, and sanitation, and then hygiene facilities in schools. In most of the schools that side, in these regions that I have mentioned, it is a common practice of bush defecating, and 60% of, according to the integrated food security phase clarification, this vice was standing at 60%, and obviously there were no proper facilities for students to go in to help themselves and let me say to go and ease themselves. So it is a very, very worrying situation, and as we speak, diarrhea cases in the area stand at 15%, including malaria at 18%, and most of these are because of the lack of proper water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. So I think with the debts cancelled of global South countries, just like how it was done to Germany to develop into the Germany that we know today, about 70 years ago, it is very possible that we can also avert this money into solving our climate crisis problems. Our country, almost every Ugandan owes a debt and is supposed to pay a debt of over 1 million shillings if you summed up our debt and divided it per individual. So it's that bad that we are supposed to be paying debts. Over 35%, and most recent in 2000, our it entered into 47%, and almost 47% of our budget is going into paying debts to the people that lent us money to develop to reach an extent of where we are. So I think if this situation is dealt with and our debts are cancelled, and to make matters worse, in fact, this money is paid back not in Uganda shillings, but it is paid back in a foreign currency, which is an extension of colonialism. And I think that this debt should extremely and be discussed. And recently I saw that Ghana was also in the same talks, and it was talking about at the World Economic Forum that happened in Davos. Davos, is it Sweden or Switzerland? In Davos, though, that they wanted their debts cancelled. So it is something that is very possible for other global South countries, and it is very imperative and this money can be channeled into important things such as educating our people, especially educating the girls, and giving them equal opportunities as the rest of the people in the world, because they are facing domestic violence, they are facing child abuse, they are facing child marriages, even before they finish school. So most of them, it is a common practice that most of them just drop out of school. So another thing that I think would be a viable solution is for COP. If you are at COP, there are some COP, like I said, is the Conference of Parties, which happens every year, and this year in 2023 it's going to be in Dubai, and they do not allow. In the previous COP that happened in Egypt, they do not allow, and we did not have any, because I was in a plenary representing my country as a party. We did not have any discussions concerning climate education and financing it. Much as the loss and damage fund was created, with all of its loopholes, knowing that we are not sure of who is going to pick money from there, who is going to put money there, nothing was talked about financing climate education, which I believe is a very significant point when it comes to the fight of the climate crisis. So we need to have as a solution, we need to have these discussions spelled out very well during the conferences of parties, and specifically spoken about. If we are talking, because it was not allowed for a party to mention a specific country, a company, or an area, if you're having a discussion or putting out a point that you would want the COP to consider. So I think we need to get more specific if we are to find the exact solutions to the climate crisis, such as, for example, one of them that could work in these areas that are seriously facing the climate crisis in the northeastern Uganda is irrigation and fertilizers, and application of fertilizers. These are things that should be taught in school, and because very many children drop out of school, most of them never get the opportunity to learn them and to help their communities that they live in. So the other issue is that, like I said, the inaccess to fresh and clean and safe water. So the sanitary situation is very difficult. So very many girls do not have sanitary pads. It is something that is rendered as very expensive. And if you've ever burnt charcoal, and that gray substance that comes out, it's called ash. It is what many of the girls use to put in their private parts, so that it stops the menstrual bleeding, and also look like other normal boys, and also sit in class when they're not smelling. So the situation is really warranting in those places, and a lot has to be done in terms of hygiene. So the sanitary situation.
Muzunguzi, actually, we are really short on time right now. So would you mind if I move on to the next speaker, please?
Okay, no problem at all.
Thank you so much for the valuable piece of information and the eye-opening information that you've just told us about. So moving on to Parneet. So Parneet Kaur is a proactively passionate change maker. She has cultivated deep appreciation for nature, a political science graduate. Parneet is currently pursuing a postgraduate diploma in environmental law and policy from WWF and National Law University in Delhi. Majority of her current and previous engagements girdle the intersectionality of gender, sustainability, and indigenous peoples. Parneet believes in creating a wave of change by expressing herself creatively, thus urging her to establish an international youth-led enterprise, Poetry for Planet. Another feather in her cap is that she's the president and founder of the Gulab Zuban Club, a club that aims to reform feminism and empower the marginalized. Currently, she is also serving as advisor to a Nigerian NGO, Jed Child Trust Foundation. On to you, Parneet.
Thank you so much, Kudrat. So, first of all, the session has been really, I think, Arthur has most taken up most of the time explaining what the problems are. So, as someone who is not native to Africa, although through my interactions with indigenous people, I have come to realize that, Africa can leverage the traditional knowledge system that are in place, and they could be incorporated into the education system to inform a very robust disaster mitigation and adaptation plan. As I've seen and heard, I've read in the UNFCCC reports that Africa is grappling from 3 to 4 major problems, and one of them is it does not have an adaptive framework to deal with, disaster management and catastrophes that are literally, that are quadrupled and whose effect is being, it's being compounded by region-specific vulnerabilities. For example, I think Arthur mentioned about food insecurity, which is again being aggravated by the war. And again, when we add climate change into the mix, it is becoming very difficult for Africa to survive. So in that sense, what I would like to, what policy interventions I would like to inject or propose with respect to that is related to the, the use, taking up traditional knowledge systems and using them as, using them and making them, mainstreaming them into the education system of Africa. Because I think the indigenous knowledge is one of the best ways one can tackle climate change. So this would be my intervention, and since we're already less on time, I would like Kudrat to get on. Yeah, thank you.
So Praneeth,
You're
I
on
had
mute,
a
Kudrat.
yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah.
So Praneeth, I had a question for you since you've co-authored the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development Declaration, suggesting the need to promote and adopt the traditional indigenous knowledge system and have been working closely with indigenous people. So my question to you is, how do you think these traditional knowledge systems can be incorporated into the African educational system?
Yeah, so this is a very pertinent question, especially with my conversations with Miss Hindu. I think she's a prominent African name. She belongs to the Chad tribe, a tribe in Chad. And what I've realized is that Africa has a valuable resource of indigenous knowledge, and we need to incorporate it in a gender responsive manner. The reason being that, what I see is that Africa has less funds, less implementation opportunities. So all these hindrances can be, we can look at it from perspective where we can use the traditional knowledge systems to, because it is very easy to mainstream these things into the climate education rather than bringing in western education, western technologies. Yes, infusion of technology is important to tackle climate change, but at the same time, I think Africa should start indigenizing its education system by banking on traditional knowledge system. And especially the focus being on, my focus is entirely now, even in indigenous traditional systems, my focus is on gender responsive strategies, which would imply that indigenous women are the main, they're the main leaders of change, of, mitigation, adaptation. What I've gathered from the African context is that we have tribes which are led by a matriarch. So why not use that knowledge, which is particular and which is unique to a gender, unique to women, and use that to cater to the ongoing climate crisis, because the things are going to be harsh. And for Africa, with limited funds and an ongoing, war and an incoming recession, what we have to think about is how can we make use and how can we embank on what we already have by the resources that we already have. So I think that embanking and indigenizing the climate education, even the education system, by incorporating the traditional knowledge system is the best way forward for Africa to build a brand of itself as well. Rather than bringing in Western technologies and Western education, I think that we should start at home. The Africans should start at home. I've been a very key advocate for the education system in Africa, for the indigenous Africa and so many colonized nations, the Asian nations.
Praneeth, I think we lost you. Praneeth. Okay, so since Praneeth, I think, lost the connection, now we'll be moving on to the next speaker, that is Mr. David D'Angelo. David D'Angelo is an environmental advocate and an influencer. His enthusiasm for environmental work landed him chances of affiliating with the Lunation Center for Environmental Governance. As someone who possesses immense knowledge, David has taken up initiatives to speak in youth leadership training and leadership conferences. He is a social media manager of TCLS Mortgage Processing Center of America. He is also an event organizer and marketing consultant at Red Cloud Interactive. On to you, David.
Good day, everyone. And I would just like to share my screen if that would be possible. Can I share the screen? Thank you for the nice introduction. Besides the introduction that was made, I also had been a candidate for a national office in the Philippines. I ran for the Senate of the Philippines in the last year's election. And I am also the national president of the Green Party of the Philippines. Previously, I worked with Africa in the review of the Millennium Development Goals before it was became the UN SDG. So I have a vast background when it comes to the environment. I will now share the screen. This would not be that long anyway. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I would
Go
like
ahead,
to
Director.
just I would like to just present the current status of the environmental crisis and why it is needed to be part of the African curriculum. Currently, the situation, as the previous speaker stated, is we are at a very dire situation right now. It was found out that indeed us humans are the cause of the warming of the planet, and 1.5 degrees centigrade is unattainable at the moment due to the current determined contributions submitted by the countries, and we are reluctantly going to the 2 degrees centigrade, which is unequivocally the tipping point of our planet, and this is very dangerous in terms of the effects of climate change. This is the current scenario that we are looking right now on the environmental crisis. Every country is recording extreme heat right now from previous years. This is across all of the world, especially in Africa, in Europe, even in the United States and in Asia. In the Philippines alone, I will be talking about experience in the Philippines since I came from the Philippines. There is vast agricultural damage in the Philippines, and it reached 3.2 billion pesos. That's about a couple of $1 billion. Also, the damage to property and the people who died. It's about 110 people has died in the recent typhoon. This is just a very, very low signal typhoon, and it caused more damages than before. No? So this is very concerning and alarming as well. One of the causes here in the Philippines, at least, is the deforestation of the jungle in the Philippines. And I would think that in my previous conversations with friends in Uganda, because I was also involved in the peace process in that area, deforestation is also key to environmental problems, not only in the Philippines, but throughout Africa as well. So the most important thing that we have to realize right now is that a healthy environment has already been declared as a human right, no less by the United Nations, meaning that including climate action, climate education, and disaster preparedness is part of education for human rights. So if we want people to know their right, environmental education is very critical. Because it is no longer just about education, it's also about basic human right. A healthy environment is clearly a basic human right. So, but what about the rights of nature? I keep talking about this. If humans do have a right to a clean nature, a clean surroundings, nature also has its own right. This is part of my campaign personally in the Philippines, campaigning for the rights of nature. Rights of nature meaning that nature should be accorded the same rights as every human being. They should be able to, to file for criminal liability for people who damage the environment. This is the next step that we should all do if we really want to, to work again with nature, because we're missing the point that most people would say, I would like to save the environment. I would like to help nature because I need to live. I need for a better future. But we're missing the point that humans are the only species that does not work with nature. We are fully disconnected with nature. So if clean environment is a basic human right, nature should also be accorded its own right, or the rights of nature. In the Philippines, one of our last frontiers is Palawan. It's a very it's a great place. The problem is environmental defenders are being killed. In the Philippines, I think there's around 130 plus environmental defenders that have been killed in less than 10 years. So that's very alarming. I have no data for Africa. That's why I'm sharing the own experience in the Philippines. And the Philippines is one of the most dangerous place for environmental defenders to be in. So how important is people's involvement in the environment? So we need monitoring. We need to monitor our public officials. There was a talk early on that we elect public officials and then they literally sit on their chairs doing mostly nothing. So we need to monitor the laws that they are passing. We need to monitor the implementation. We need to advocate. We need people, the civil society to advocate, educators to advocate. We need to mobilize the people, the indigenous people, women, to act, to speak out. Otherwise, our own government will lead us into perdition. And then we need to lobby, to lobby for relevant laws that protects nature and protects our future and protects a just and livable society. So how important is inclusion in the curriculum? If it is a human right, like I said before, education is the strongest tool towards creating a long-term cultural and paradigm shift. If we want to have a long-term impact for a future that is livable, that is better, that is green, we need to have a change of the way we think, a change of our lifestyle. And I believe, I don't know if anyone would disagree, but I believe that education remains the best tool for developing the longest term solution towards the climate crisis, because we need a paradigm shift. Everyone needs to be educated from the primary level of education up to the collegiate degree, even those in communities, even business people, most especially our politicians, who we hope are really, statesmen rather than just mere politicians. So how important is inclusion in the curriculum? First, it creates awareness with every age, every race, every walk of life. It creates awareness. Secondly, it should create lifestyle change. It should change the way people think. It should change how we perceive about nature, how we perceive about others, how we perceive about the world in general. And it would prepare us for disaster, because we in the global south can only do so much. But if those in the global north, if those high emitters will not do anything, we will be at their mercy. So we need to be prepared. And if all of them dies, then we should be prepared that we survive what they did to us. But if I will be asked, they should pay for everything right now, and they should act because they are, they made this happen to us. They're the devils, the devil of this society, the devil that created the situation, the climate crisis that we have right now. And lastly, nature regeneration. If every individual, if every person would have paradigm shift, nature will regenerate. Why? Because as David Attenborough said, if we connect once again with nature, then we work with nature, then nature will regenerate. So individual action counts, each of our action counts, the teachers, the students, those at home, the family, they should also be part of the education curriculum that we are pushing for, because every single individual counts, no matter how big or how small their contribution is. It's better than actually having a few people doing very big things, but better is many, many people doing each of the part that they ought to do. So I think that's it. So if you want to contact me, here are my contact details. You can email me, or you can visit my social media pages, even contact me on WhatsApp and our website, greenparty.p. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. David DeAngelo. So I have a question for you. So your primary concerns are pertaining to declaring climate emergencies and adopting blockchains and governance. So in your opinion, how can these objectives be achieved in terms of the African context? Can the African education system be leveraged as a meeting point between the objectives and the legislation?
I think the declaration of a climate emergency is very critical to all nations that are in the global south, because it mobilizes funds from the government. The dangers of the climate crisis is a next level pandemic. It's larger than COVID-19. The problem is we are not seeing it right now because it's slowly escalating. But when it comes, it's something that we cannot control with a vaccine. That's why a climate emergency is very important. The thing about blockchain in governance, I think that's one thing that I pushed during my campaign as a senator in the Philippines. It's a way of doing away with the corruption in election, where the corrupt politicians will not have a hand in the electoral process. And also blockchain has various applications in climate solutions. The only problem here is renewable energy should be the main source of power of the operation of the blockchain. Otherwise, if the energy that's being used by the blockchain is on fossil fuel, then it defeats the overall purpose of the technology.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
definitely. Thank you so much. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the speakers. It was a very informative session, and definitely I hope it urges to all the listeners to take an action on a personal level. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kudrat. It was an informative session where we get to understand the drastic impacts that climate has on our environment, and how we can use education to resolve some of these issues that have come to play as a result of climate change. Thank you, David D'Angelo. Thank you, Hoto Musugizi. And Panthea, thank you. And thank you, Kudrat. It was an interesting session. Okay, moving to the next before we move, would this we are going to be recognizing and awarding the winners of the 2022 edition of the Jed Essay Competition. Yes, every year we do an essay competition amongst university students. The winner get to go home with a cash prize, an ambassadorial position for the Jed Foundation, as well as a certificate. So I'm handing over the session to Mr. Joseph, the Executive Director of Jed Child Trust Foundation, and the Head of Programs, Mr. Tayo Adebusui, who will be awarding the gifts to the winners. We have 3 winners for the 2022 essay competition. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Mr.
very
Joseph.
yeah, thank you very much, Kemi. I so much appreciate the work you're doing. And I also thank the planning and all those that were part of the previous session. I also thank everybody that is still here till now. So about the essay competition, the essay competition is our annual, it's, as Kemi said, is an annual event. It's something we do every year. And there is a reason why we do the essay competition. And the reason why we do this essay competition is to make everybody part in the change story. You see, transforming Africa, it's not something that I can do alone. It's not something Jed can do alone. It's not something Folukemi can do alone. It's not something anybody can do alone. It's a collective effort. And for us to make this collective effort really impactful, what we do is we try to empower others as to be able to carry on this work by leveraging their skills. I'm good at writing, very perfect at writing. We appreciate that so much. And we ask you to, when you show that you are good at writing, you use that skill to also teach others how to write. That is the essence of this essay competition. And this essay competition, we held it. The first edition was last year, 2022. And we had a lot of challenges. We had to shift from the February deadline to another deadline up until now. And I thank the participants. I thank those that the winners. And I also use this opportunity to apologize to the winners, because actually we are supposed to have held this conference in December, but due to one reason or the other, the conference was moved to this January. And I'm quite sorry to the winners for the fact that we've been changing this, and there was a lot of delay in the receiving of the prizes, but we're sure that today you're going to get the prize, you're going to get rewarded for the hard work, you're going to get what you deserve. And we hope that through this empowerment, through what you receive from us, you can be able to teach other people, teach other children how to write, how to make the best use of their pen, because some people say the pen can be heavier than a sword. You can really change life with a pen. You can really take a life with a pen. So teach them the power of their pen, the power of advocacy with a pen. And that is exactly the reason why we are rewarding you for your hard work. So, and this winner's announcement and giving of the prizes was supposed to have been done by my friend Gabrielle. Gabrielle is the person that is supposed to have awarded this prize. But unfortunately, Gabrielle, she has been grappling with one or two things. And she reached out to me today to tell me that she would not be available to give out those prizes. And our 2022 annual essay competition, I am grateful to Gabrielle. I'm grateful to the Ellen Bradshaw Foundation. And we decided to organize the essay competition. And Gabrielle was like, to support this, we are going to provide, my organization is going to provide this, and then you're going to provide this. So I am also using this opportunity to announce to the winners that apart from the prize money, which was provided by the Jed Child Trust Foundation for them, there is also another gift from the Ellen Bradshaw Foundation, a donation that will cover their lunch for 5 days, given in cash. So we thank the Ellen Bradshaw Foundation for this donation. So the Jed Child Trust Foundation provided the prizes for the essay competition, while the Ellen Bradshaw made an additional donation that will take care of their lunch, everyday lunch for 5 days. So I'm grateful to the winners. I'm grateful that you're part of this, and I feel it's time to get rewarded. I know it took a lot of time, and I'm so sorry for that. I'm so very, very sorry. I am deeply, it's not actually intended. It was due to circumstances. We have to adjust. We have to fit into things and then try to make sure everything works in order. So we are very, very sorry. We promise that we'll improve in the next coming sessions. Like the essay competition will soon open for the next batch, and I assure you we're definitely going to improve. We're definitely going to do better and greater together. I hope that the prizes will go higher this time around, and I hope that we'll get more donors. And I'm happy to announce that Ellen Bradshaw Foundation has also accepted to provide lunch for 5 days for the winners of the next coming essay competition, as they did for the people of this year, so of 2022. So I am quite grateful, and I thank you for your patience. I thank you for everything for the winners of the essay competition. So it is also a great privilege to be to be the person giving this award. I feel it's a great privilege. Thank you very much, Jed Child Trust Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to be the person to provide this awards. So for the first winner of the essay before I go ahead, the head of programs, I hope I'm on track. Kemi, I hope I'm on track.
Yeah, there's no positioning. The three of them are winners. There's no first winner, second winner, or third winner. So in no particular order.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Kemi. So I would go straight to the winners of the essay competition. So for the first person on my list here, is Obaga Sunday Thomas from Ahmed Bello University, Zaria. Is Sunday here? Is Sunday Thomas, is he here? Is Obaga Sunday Thomas here? I think he's the one that left a message on the chat, right?
Yes.
All right. So Obaga Sunday is not here.
It's not available, unfortunately, but would definitely publicize it when he's picking up his gifts.
Right. So this certificate of excellence, we are proudly presenting it to Obaga Sunday Thomas, and we give this certificate as a sign that you've attempted the 2022 essay competition and that you're one of our winners. And your prize, the prize of Obaga Sunday is Obaga Sunday gets the sum of 100,000 naira and a 5 days lunch that is approximated at a rate of 2,500 naira per day for 5 days, and that is 12,500 naira. So Obaga Sunday goes home with a total award prize of 112,500. A very warm congratulations to Obaga Sunday. Please, anybody that is here that knows Obaga Sunday, please tell him congratulations and tell him to reach out to the program's head and then fulfill the necessary requirements and get his payments, his prize for the competition. So the second person I have on my list here is Izebe Evogame Izebe. I am so sorry that
No problem.
I nearly murdered your name.
No, I'm used to it already, so no problem.
Yeah, so Izebe is a great guy, and he's one of the winners of our essay competition. Yeah, and Izebe, thank you very much for writing. Thank you very much for being part of the Jed Child Trust Foundation, for being part of our story. And we hope that you can, through this essay competition, through your gifts, through your talents in writing, impact other children, teach them how to write, help them understand the importance of writing and the importance of education. You represent us. Winning the certificate means you are permanently part of us. You're always part of our story. So you have to represent us by teaching these children how to read, teaching them how to write, and being a wonderful representative. So I congratulate you, Mr. Izebe, and
Thank you.
I would leave the floor open to you to say one or two, whatever you want to say.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Izebe Evogame. So I really like to appreciate JED for this opportunity to express myself. I was really happy with the topic because this kind of things, they interest me. So I was really happy when I was writing about it. And I wish to, and I hope that I'll continue to work with JED so that we can spread the news or spread the policy and we can spread the news of JED around Africa. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Izebe. Thank you very much, Izebe, and thank you very much for being part of it. I saw you since yesterday. You've been all over the meeting, and I'm so grateful that you are part of it. And I know you must have learned one or two.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So Izebe goes home with a prize of head of programs. Are you there? Head of programs.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Izebe is the second winner, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Izebe, congratulations. You are going home with a sum of 75,000 naira.
Thank you.
You are also getting a package, a special package from Ellen Bradshaw Foundation, who said that they're going to pay for your lunch for 5 days. Each day is rated at 2,500 naira per day, and for 5 days, that is, you get a sum of 12,500. So you get a total sum of who knows maths here? Please help me.
That should be 87,500.
Yeah. So Izebe, you're going home with a sum of 87,500 naira, and a very big congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all right. So spread the word, Izebe. We are opening the next session. I am so sorry that the prize is coming this late. We really had in mind of having the conference in December. We had in mind of having it, but circumstances couldn't help the situation. We have to adjust to a lot of things, and then we are having it this January. And the next set of winners will also get their prizes in the next conference, which is what we normally do. So a very big congratulations to you, Izebe. A very, very big warm congratulations.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the last person on my list is his name is Caleb Osagie Anthony from the University of Benin. Is Caleb here? Oh, look at the handsome Caleb. Yeah, so Caleb, congratulations to you for being one of the winners of the AC competition. So please spread the word about the AC competition, teach other children, be a good ambassador, be a good representative, and I'm so happy to congratulate you on your prize, on winning this. I feel you deserve it. You wrote it. I read all your essays, and I was like, wow, these children are full of bright ideas. And I'm so happy that you really wrote, and I'm happy that you're part of this. So congratulations, a very big congratulations to you. And yeah, the floor is yours, please. You can say what you want to say.
Thank you very much. I'm so impressed with you and rapid behavior is actually very engaging. I have to come with the idea. It's just a lot of thinking, you have to listen to a lot of things. The interest came up, and I think, like I've always said, it's not always about the drama, it's about the passion. Because the reason I think the fact that it's not about and I'm grateful for it. And this is the opportunity to rise out something
Sorry, we have a lot of noise. You have a lot of background noise there. We could barely hear you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you can bring your microphone closer to your mouth. That's your earpiece, the mic part of your earpiece. That's the box side of your earpiece. Just bring it closer to your mouth so I could hear you better.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Better.
Okay, I was saying that I'm really happy. I'm grateful for the opportunity that Jed Child Trust Foundation provided, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, the essay competition, which was a ground for me to express something that I'm passionate about. The essay competition made me personally think and brainstorm on the subject, bringing ideas to my mind that I was able to put down in writing. So essay competitions, as I've realized from this particular essay, it's not just about your grammar, it's not about your literacy skill, but it's also about your ability to put down something that you are passionate about. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Jed Child Trust. And I wish that we achieve more in the coming future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Caleb. And Caleb, I feel you deserve this prize. I read your essay and it was full of bright ideas. Thank you for being part of our story. And as I said earlier, you're part of us, you're permanently part of us. And we just hope that through your skill, you can teach other children on how to write essays and how to be powerful writers, okay, so that they can better fit into the society and better help make the impact. So congratulations, Mr. Caleb. And Mr. Caleb is going home with a sum of 50,000 naira, courtesy of Jed Child Trust Foundation. And then the sum of 12,500 naira, courtesy of the Ellen Bradshaw Foundation. Ellen Bradshaw Foundation said that you should have lunch every day, 2,500 naira for your lunch. So you have it to yourself, eat good food so that you can be able to best advocate and help others right well. So thank you very much, Mr. Caleb. Thank you very much, Izebe. Thank you very much, Obaga, for writing very well. And please, as the essay competition for 2023 is opening, help spread the word. We're sorry for the delays and breaches in communication and a lot of those things. We said we'd award you during the conference, and this is a conference we haven't since then, and we really kept to our promise. We keep to our promises. So help us spread the word. The next one is coming up, and we are drafting the guideline. We're going to make sure that everything will cross our T's and we dotted our I's. So thank you very much for being part of this, and congratulations once again. I do hope you make the best out of this. A very big congratulations.
Okay, I think you can see that we mean business when we say that we mean business. We want to effect a change. We want people to create a society where education is good. So we look forward to having more of this. This year, essay competition is coming up, and I believe that we would all partake and try and read and try and do something great with it. Okay. Now, before we end this whole thing, I have my question. I hope you are ready. If you are ready, please raise your hand. Let me see you wave that hand. If you are ready for my trivia question, my chat card, I have 2,000 naira recharge card, 1,000 for each person. 2 persons are getting 1,000 naira recharge card from me. In Nigeria, not outside Nigeria, because of the network. So if you know that you are ready, please show me your raised hands. I'm only seeing one person. Ha. Is there only one person that is ready? Only one person. Okay, yes, I can see plenty hands. That's good. Okay. Please mention the name. I have 2 questions for you. The first question is, mention the name of the first speaker. Mention the name of the first speaker. The first speaker. Mention the name of the first speaker. That's one. Then 2, mention at least 2 partners of Jed Child Trust. 2 partners of Jed Child Trust. Those are my 2 questions. So let's see our fastest fingers. Our fastest fingers, let's see them. Please, technical, I hope you are checking our chat room for the answer. My first question is, what is the name of the first guest speaker? The first guest speaker. What's the name of the first guest speaker? That's one. Number 2, what is, I did not say presentation, no. I said guest speaker for our sessions, guest speaker. What's the name of our first guest speaker? Then secondly, mention two partners of Jed Child Trust Foundation. Okay, I'm waiting for you. You still have room to correct your answers and resend the correct one. On our social media page, remember that I said competitions are going on. So on Twitter, we have someone on Twitter. We have someone on Twitter. His name, I don't know his name, but this is his handle. I'm going to do a screenshot and post and see if we can get it shared. If you are the one, please just let us know. Screenshots. At ProCD. I think that's what is there on Twitter. At ProCD, I don't know. ProSodi, at ProSodi on Twitter. Please, if you are the one, let us know. Please, your technical purpose, put it on the screen. On Twitter, since we have more of our members on Twitter than on the other platforms. So our winner for the social media. Okay, we're told that it's stepped out. I asked 2 questions. I'm only seeing answer to 1 question in the chat room. My first question is the guest speaker, our first guest speaker for the sessions, our first guest speaker. Wow. Then the second question is 2 partners. I'm only seeing answers to 1. So are we saying that we're not attentive? Are we saying we were not attentive? So who is my winner? Who is getting my recharge card? Speak out. Please them know the answer now. Let them get the answer themselves. So first speaker, I'm waiting.
I think I have given the clue. However, thank you for remembering that I was the first speaker. Yes, I spoke first, but I was not the first speaker. It was somebody else.
You have to sit together in one place, please. Let it be together. This first speaker's name, I want the first speaker's name. Who is the first speaker? Wow, everybody's guessing. The first speaker's name and 2 partners before we round up, unless you don't want to go with my Richard card today. Okay, technical, please put up the screenshot of the winner for our, please, I'm not the first speaker, Miss is not the first speaker. I said first speaker for our sessions. I need all the answers together. Stop giving me one answers. I asked 2 questions. Put the 2 answers together. First question says, who is the first speaker for our first session? Then the second question says, who the 2 partners. Okay, I found my winner. One, I need a second winner. Mohammed, please. The technique, I sent something on WhatsApp. Please, you see it, the screenshots. Mohammed is my first winner. Mohammed Muniru is my first winner. Waiting for the second winner. Who is the second person getting my Richard card? Yay, Johanna. Johanna Daniel. Wow, that's great. Let's see your face. Johanna, let's see your face. Mohammed Muniru, let's see your face. Let's see your face.
Johanna is here, ma.
Aha. Okay, Johanna, you have just
ma, I'm here.
You have won our 1,000 naira Richard card. So please send me a direct message in the chat room, not to everyone, with your phone number, please.
Yes, ma. It's okay.
A direct message.
All right, ma. Then
the next person, Muniru Mohammed. Muniru Mohammed, where are you? We are here to see you. Muniru Mohammed, Joanna, please, you can mute yourself. Just send me your phone number so that you can get your credits. Oh, sorry, Akiwale, but you came late. My first 2 winners are. I was trying, but he just kept giving me one answer. Then after the first 2 people have answered, he's now giving me the complete answer. Sorry about that. So Muniru Mohammed, is he not here? He gave an answer and disappeared. Okay. Before we're here to know the whose Twitter handle is this. At Prosody 5156. I don't know your name, but for those people that know, please let him contact us for his 5,000 naira voucher. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet everybody. Please, before we go, would like to take a picture of everyone. Can you kindly show your faces? Kindly show your faces, please. We'd like to take a picture of everybody. Please, thank you. I'm very sure our technical team is doing that as we speak. Abubakar, we are not seeing your face. Dennis, we are not seeing your face. Caleb, we are not seeing your face. For Facebook and Instagram, we are here to collect the winners, but it will be announced on the Jed page. It will be announced on the Instagram page as well as on the Facebook page. So, shall we? Thank you very much. It was nice having this conference with you, and it was a great experience in this conference. Please stay tuned. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms to get more information, and subscribe to our newsletters as well, so that you can know what we are doing at every given time, and you can always support us either financially, human support, and material support. Thank you very much. And before I close it, I'm calling on the head of programs to officially close the conference, the conference 2023 for us. Thank you. Mr. Tayo Adebusui.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You would actually forgive the fact that I can't show my face right now. Yes, I want to thank everyone for being here. Speakers, I want to thank the speakers, those that came yesterday. It was a wonderful session. Even today was also very, very great and insightful. I also want to thank Yestek for sharing the vision of Jed Child Trust Foundation. Yes. Also, I want to thank everyone here for being a part of the program itself. Also to the teams that actually worked together to make this a success. I want to give a big shout out to every one of you here, and also to Jed Child Trust Foundation. As we've all known, or as we've all heard, everything we've heard here, everything we've learned here is not just for hearing's sake, it's not just for participation's sake. We need to go out there and make the change and create the change we so much desire. Together, I believe we can build Africa. Together, I feel and I believe that we can make Africa great. Thank you very much. Thank you for looking at me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Please, before we end it, Johanna, kindly send us your phone number, please. Joanna, kindly send us your phone number, please. Thank you. Okay, so officially, Jed Conference 2023 has come to an end, and I hope we have had fun, we have learned, we have been informed, and we have things that we have taken with us to implement in our various community, various homes, and various environments. Thank you very much, and God bless. Johanna, please send us your phone number. Johanna, Mohammed, I've seen your phone number. Johanna, please, your phone number.